Welcome to the Real Film Nerds Podcast.
Well, hello there, listener, and welcome to the Real Film Nerds Podcast, episode number 287. This is our first legacy cast in a very long time. And for those of you who do not remember what a legacy cast is, it is a film that is currently not in the theaters. So it could be, and not intended for streaming. So it wasn't made directly for streaming. That is what we call a tributary. So these are more of your classically known, thought about films. Typically in the past, 50 years. We usually don't go too much older than that. Actually, we usually don't go too much older than 30 or 40 years because that's how old we are. But this week we have a fun one. It was my pick. It's the 1986 classic Big Trouble in Little China, directed by John Carpenter. Before I start rolling too much, I probably should say, Mike, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, hey, Matt. How you doing?
Good. Besides seeing you nude yet again, I'm fine.
Well, it happens. You know what else happens, Matt? Did you go to the theater this weekend to support the whatever day it was called? Was it called Movie Theater Day?
National Cinema Day. And no, I did not make it out to the theater on Saturday. I was quite busy working. Mike, what were you doing on Saturday? Did you go to the theater and bring your brood?
No, I didn't get a chance to go either, man, but I wanted to.
I wanted to go, but I was actually kind of more afraid of the crowds. And Harkins was doing something really cool where it was $3 to get in. And if you were a Harkins Rewards member, which obviously I am because I go there all the time, you get a $3 medium drink and a $3 medium popcorn if you wanted. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, the Cinemark had a similar special. And I wanted to go watch, because they re-released Jaws this weekend, and I wanted to watch Jaws in the theater again. I mean, I've seen it before in the theater, but it's such a great movie.
They had it here. They were promoting it. They had it in 3D.
Nice.
So that could have been fun, but I don't know. The 3D movies really don't do a whole lot for me. The last 3D movie I watched was Avatar, and it was cool, but I don't know if it was worth the $20 to see it or whatever the hell I paid.
Are you going to watch the new Avatar that's coming out in Super Ultra Max 3D Special Vision?
No. I'll just go watch it in the theater regularly. I don't think I'll make a special trip to Phoenix to see it in, the big fancy Dolby Cinema or anything like that. I don't mind the Avatar films, but I don't know why people love them so much and why they make so much money. I mean, they're cool, but they're not incredible like Star Wars.
Yeah, that's right, man. I don't know why it made so much money either. Really, it was just Dances with Wolves with blue people. But hey, whatever. Maybe no one saw Dances with Wolves.
South Park, Dances with Smurfs, man. That's all it was.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, speaking of Star Wars, I don't want to get off too much, but I've been sitting here doing work, watching Star Wars as it's on TV. It's on TBS or TNT or one of those. And they're playing the sequel trilogy. And God, dude, I was excited when they came out, but not so much, man. Not so much at all. They're just not great films, especially episode 8. But I tore that apart in Real Film Nerds podcast here a few years ago. But, God, just so bad. Just so bad. Anyways, I will stop talking about Star Wars. I'll move along. It's just interesting. I've been trying to organize and go through my collection and stuff, and the trilogy figures, the sequel trilogy figures, are worth less than what you bought them in the store at. That's how bad people despise the trilogy.
Oh, no, man.
The sequel trilogy. Yeah. So it's like, oh, great. I just lost a whole lot of money. But yet I got other stuff that I made money on. So it balances out. Anyways, okay, I will stop talking about the wars as much as I love it. Mike, why don't you give us the rundown for John Carpenter's Big Trouble in Little China?
All right, Matt. So, like you said, this was directed by John Carpenter. It was written by Gary Goldman and David Weinstein. W.D. Richter was in charge of adaptation. And this movie starring Kurt Russell, Kim Cattrall, Dennis Dunn, and James Hong. And it's about a rough and tumble trucker with his sidekick face off with an ancient sorcerer in a supernatural battle beneath Chinatown.
All right, Mike. So this is a classic. This is a really just out there movie. It's just very strange. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's what the charm of this movie is how just weird and zany it is. It's a comedy. It's kind of sci-fi with all the magical stuff. It's kind of myth-inducing. It's trucker and redneck. And I mean, come on, dude. Kurt Russell at his best with a mullet. I mean, driving a truck. You don't get better Kurt Russell than that.
Yeah, man. It was a lot of fun, man. I felt it was just a fun character for Kurt Russell to play.
The one thing I was going to say, it's also a martial arts movie. The one thing that kind of takes it down a notch, just because I've seen so many martial arts movies, especially as a kid, I think the martial arts have moments of greatness and moments of, that was kind of boring. I wish there was a little bit more to it. Oh, here's a fun one I just thought of. I forgot. I looked this up. So James Hong, who plays the villain in this film, he's like in everything, dude. He plays David Lopan. He literally is in everything. So I looked it up, and you know how we're always like saying how awesome Samuel Jackson is and how he's in everything, and Nicolas Cage. So I looked it up. James Hong has been in 454 commercials, TV shows, or movies.
Whoa.
Guess how many Sam Jackson has been in?
He's like 300, right?
260 something.
Oh, man.
So this dude literally has been in almost twice as many things as Sam Jackson, and he's still kicking. He was just in a movie we reviewed this earlier this year, Anything, Everything, All at Once, Everywhere, All at Once. There we go. I just screwed up the title of the movie.
Oh, yeah. No, dude, that movie was awesome.
Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Got it. There we go. He was in that movie. This guy, James Hong, I respect the shit out of him. He is just awesome. He's been in all kinds of stuff. I just love the guy. He was born in 1929, Mike.
1929?
And he's still acting. That's just, I know that's some random ass trivia. I just had to put it out there because we're always talking about how Sam Jackson's in everything. Nah, dude, James Hong is literally in everything.
Wow. No, you're right. Okay. I mean, he's got Samuel Jackson beat, so awesome.
Yeah. All right. Okay, Mike. So we need to get you talking about this movie instead of looking at porn on your phone, because I can see it.
I am looking at trivia for this movie, Matt.
Oh, you're looking at trivia for this movie? Okay, well then we'll allow the trivia. But I don't know what else to talk about this movie. I mean, Kurt Russell's awesome. I think this is the only movie I've really seen Kim Cattrall in. Like, I don't really watch many movies that she's been in. She, infamously is known for Sex and the City, but I really just don't remember her being in any other movies than this one that I really remember. Star Trek, but like her titles are, Sex and the City, which that's fine. How I Met Your Father, How I Met Your Mother, Tell Me a Story, all this. She's done a lot of TV, but not a whole lot of movies. And so, I don't know. I remember Sex and the City coming out. I was just like, oh yeah, that's the chick from Big Trouble in Little China. So I know that's kind of weird, but it's because they point so much out about her in the film, two women specifically, the two main characters with their green eyes. And so that's, that's why I remember it.
Yeah, that's true. So Matt, I think, rewatching this movie, I've loved watching this movie over and over. It's just, it's not very serious. It's kind of fun. It's 100% 80s, man. It's like, this movie came out in 86 and it's like really, really 80s. And I just like it, man. Like, and John Carpenter did some of the sound stuff, kind of like he did in his classic Halloween movie. and it just got kind of a funky soundtrack. You know, he's got a history, or he had a history before he started making movies of writing music and stuff. So like, it wasn't kind of that far outside of his wheelhouse to try and do some stuff with music. And I don't know, man, it's just a lot of fun. I like the practice, like, well, I don't know what kind of, Matt, when they do the lightning in this, is that where they have to draw like the every frame, like they draw some lightning and then they just kind of do it like animation style?
So it's either drawn or it's laid over. So they might have another just piece of film with lightning on it, and so they sandwich it over the original, and that's how they create the lightning.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, I love the way that lightning looks in this movie. I know it's like kind of cheesy and not like high tech, but it kind of reminds me of like the Ghostbuster movies and how they did some of the like, I don't know, the effects in that movie with the
With the ghosts.
well, with the ghosts, and then the what
I know, I'm a dick.
no, not lightsabers. Damn it! What the proton packs
Uh-huh.
with the energy that comes out of those.
Yeah. Very
Yeah.
much the same, because it was the same around almost the exact same time period.
Yeah, so I don't know. It was fun. Matt, you know, before we did this, you know, this one of the characters, I get with the lightning, kind of inspired the people who made the video game Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, so they have three characters. They're basically gods. There's rain, there's lightning, and then there's thunder. And they are very loosely based on actual Chinese, Japanese, Asian culture gods, because it's kind of a combination of things. And one of the gods is a god of lightning, and he does all those things. And Raiden, infamously from Mortal Kombat, is inspired by the god of lightning, and specifically these three gods in this film.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. And I love their like weird hats that they have. Like you have to, like, they're so big over their faces, you have to like shoot up like from the bottom because it would cover their face.
Well, and if you look at the hats close, the wicker stitching, or whatever you want to call it, braiding in front of their eyeballs is a lot thicker than the rest of the hat, so they can still see out of it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it covers their faces.
It's different, man. It's a look. I don't know. I just like the kind of oddball style of this movie. It's like, you're right, it's kind of a little strange. Like, what the heck? Why would any of this stuff happen? Like, there's like this big gang fight in an alley in Chinatown, and everything's like, that's just normal? That's okay?
Yeah, it comes out of nowhere. They're just driving the semi-truck down the alley looking for this place, and all of a sudden there's a funeral that turns into a gang fight, which turns into shooting guns, which brings in gods that fly in from the sky on lightning bolts. It's just crazy. It's nuts. It's so much fun.
It is nuts. It's nuts. It's Matt, if we had to come up with a drinking game for this, what would it be?
Oh, dude, I don't know. For Big Trouble in Little China, I don't know. Maybe every single time you see a pair of green eyes, or they talk about green eyes.
Oh, that'd be good. That's probably a good one, man.
Well, because they start off from the start, like right from the start, when he explained this one to me, drives the semi-truck to the airport to pick up people. Right there when they're in the airport, they're talking about green eyes. So that's one theme that continues throughout the whole film.
That's true. Yeah. And like, you gotta love at the airport, you know, the gang members all have like weapons. You're like, oh yeah, it's a different time.
Yeah, in the airport. Yep.
Yeah.
And then, God, dude, so this just shows you how small the actors and actresses were back then, or just in general, because, I mean, I'm just a freak, I guess. That Firebird that they have from the 80s, brand new, God, gorgeous. I don't like the red, but I love that Firebird they're driving. Just super hot car. I would love to have one of those. they have her shoved in the trunk of that Firebird, which is like one of the smallest trunks ever, wedged up underneath the hatchback. And they show you a cut of it, and she fits. I'm like, how the hell is that even possible? She's like 3 feet tall.
Yeah, it's designed for like one golf, club bag. That's it.
Maybe.
Yeah, no. All right, Matt. Well, I guess before we keep talking about this movie, I'm going to ask you, what are you drinking this fine morning, evening, afternoon?
Mike, I'm going back to your town of College. I still have some of these in the fridge. I'm drinking a Lumberyard Brewing Company Railhead Red.
Awesome, dude. Awesome. Well, I am drinking another one of those Oktoberfests from Sam Adams and loving it.
Dude, I love my Oktoberfest. I am drinking those as well. I had 4 the other day, which for those of you who don't know me, or those of you who do know me, maybe, I don't really drink that much anymore. I drink maybe a beer or 2 a night tops if I drink at all. For me to have 4 in one night, it was just like heaven. I was working on my airplanes and just drinking my beers, getting ready to go flying the next day. It was awesome.
Nice, dude. Nice. You actually got to go flying?
Yeah, I've gotten to go flying on Saturday and Sunday this past weekend with a broken airplane. So that's why I sat down and spent all night drinking beers and fixing it and hustling it. It's my favorite. I'd say it's one of my favorites because it's actually a gas engine. I don't have many of those. I only have 2. And there's just something about that gas and the smell of the oil burning, and it's just the noise, the size. I mean, it's a big airplane. Anyways, all right, I'm nerding out again. We'll continue on with the show. Sorry, Mike.
All right. I got you going. My fault, everyone.
No, it's fine, Mike. It's fine. What else are we going to talk about? I mean, come on. That's what we're here for. This is a podcast. We don't stick to rules. We do what we want. Except for this rule, Mike. What is this week's really, really just incredible dad joke?
I got dad jokes. I don't think they understand, though. Gotta think I'm funny. Other people never laugh, though. Dad jokes.
Oh, Matt. Thanks for asking. You're going to love this one, Matt. It's like a very, well, anyway, we'll see. When is a joke truly a dad joke?
When it's just absolute garbage.
When it's apparent.
Yeah. I like that one. That's a pretty good one so far.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. So now the real most important question that's very easy to answer. We'll see if you're paying attention. Mike, how does Big Trouble in Little China relate to the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Well, Matt, thanks for asking. So this one is easy. So Kurt Russell is obviously Ego in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So that's pretty easy. And so I was happy to have an easy one.
Yeah, you don't get too much easier than the main character now, do you, Mike?
No, not usually.
Although that's one thing that I could kind of argue against. So yeah, it's branded Kurt Russell, it's branded Jack Burton, all that stuff. But the story is really more about his friend's plight and, what all he goes through, Wang Chi, to rescue his fiance or girlfriend. I don't know if they're officially engaged, but he basically calls her fiance, from being kidnapped from the airport.
Yeah, I'd say the story is more like he's wrapped up in the story, but the story is more about the person who gets kidnapped. Yeah.
Yeah. Kurt Russell, Jack Burton is a major part. Obviously he is, but it's not really his story. It's more Wang Chi's story. Now he falls in love with Kim Cattrall, I guess, to a degree, but he doesn't take her with him. So when he leaves at the end, spoilers, there's a monster that likes to tag along. But it's still, in my opinion, it's about Wang Chi.
Yeah, I think you're right, dude. I think it was partly marketing, although reading some of this trivia, apparently Fox, 20th Century Fox made this movie, and they didn't really know what to do to market this movie. So they just kind of didn't. And then it didn't do well in the box office, but it went on to become a massive cult classic. And then it was also 16 days before Aliens came out.
Ooh, that's tough competition right there, man, because Alien, amazing film. Absolutely amazing film. And that was a Fox product too, isn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
and
so
that
they
was
probably...
Mr. James Cameron's first debut in the Alien universe, I guess, or like, because he had done, I think, The Terminator, and then he did Aliens, and then he did Terminator 2, and well, everything's history after that, I guess. Or he did like Abyss. Abyss was somewhere in there too.
I think Abyss was in the 90s, but yeah. I liked Abyss. That was a really good movie. Dude, okay, not to get off topic again, but it's going to happen because you brought up Terminator. So this guy I've been hanging out with a little bit here and there at the flying field, he used to work in Hollywood, and I didn't know that. I knew he came from LA. He worked on Terminator 2.
What?
Yeah. And Fast and the Furious.
Oh, wow. So is he kind of recently left LA?
Yeah, he retired probably 3 or 4 years ago and moved out here with his wife, who's still working. She's just working remotely. But just this really cool guy, and we were just talking about stuff, and I was asking him how he knows how to do all this shit. And he's like, well, when I worked in Hollywood, they would just like ask me to do shit, and I would just figure it out. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, so like in Fast and the Furious 7, there's this one stunt they wanted to do where they jumped like these cars off the side of this mountain, but there was no road to go down through the trees. So like, see that truck over there, the grader or whatever, can you go make a road? He's like, sure, I'll figure it out.
Wow.
I don't know. I'm thinking about if we become a little bit closer friends, maybe trying to get him on the podcast for like a special episode or something. It'd be kind of fun.
It'd be fun, man, dude. I mean, I'd love to review Terminator 2. That'd be fun.
Yeah, Terminator 2 would be fun to review, but I'm just talking with him about his life story and everything, what he's did in the movies, because his job title, what he did was he basically drove and ran and I guess directed not so much the lighting, but the big semi trucks that had all the generators on it that had all the lighting and everything. He made sure they worked and ran, and he drove the trucks and brought them out and did all that stuff.
Oh, okay. So he's a key player in making sure that things had power and that there was lighting and stuff in all these random locations, I'm sure. I imagine just unbelievably random.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what he did. And then he'd be just like hanging out and people would just ask him to like do stuff. And I don't know if they just caught on, but he started doing all kinds of just random shit that people would come up and ask him because he would just figure it out. He'd be like, oh, yeah, I'll just figure it out. And they'd be like, yeah, we're going to give you more money. He's like, I'm not going to say no to more money.
Nice.
Anyways, okay, so we'll get back on topic. It's kind of on topic, but yeah, I just found out about that yesterday, I think.
Wow, that's cool, man. Small world.
Yeah, he's just a cool dude, and I'm like, he's like, yeah, I've worked on a couple movies you might know, Terminator 2 and Fast and Furious. I was like, what? Yeah, I know those very well.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool.
I should ask him if he worked on this.
Yeah, you never know.
You never know, man. You never know. So, all right, Mike. So, Big Trouble in Little China. I got a controversial one. Do you think this movie is not PC or not sensitive or controversial or racist or I'm not sure what to say? Offensive? Do you think this movie is offensive? How's that?
Yeah. So what I would say, Matt, is I don't know if it's PC or not, but I would say, could you make this movie today? Absolutely not.
Okay, that's a good answer. I personally don't think this movie is offensive at all. There's some things that are like a little questionable, maybe. I think one thing that people would be offended by, and it's nothing to do with really the actors or anything, but just the characterization of their spirituality and their gods and stuff like that. I think some people might find that quite offensive. But maybe some of the character names, like the dude that drives the bus, his tour is called Egg-Foo Young Tour or something.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of offensive, but it's also marketing. Like, he's the one that chose the name.
Yeah, it actually might have been a real tour. Who knows? Or something similar.
Yeah, and like his character name was Egg Shen, which I don't find that super offensive either. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I think it would be cool if someone remade this movie, but I don't know if they would be able to do it at the level that it was initially made. I think they would just offend way too many people.
Yeah, I think it would have just rubbed people the wrong way, and you know how we're not allowed to I don't know. We're not allowed to have sense of humor anymore, kind of. So I feel like somebody would have been offended, so they just wouldn't have made it.
Well, that's a very, very, very valid point, and I don't want to get off too much on topic, but we discussed this a little bit back around the Academy Award time when Will Smith went and, slapped Chris Rock on stage. And I was very startled by that, not from the act. I mean, sure, everybody was startled from the act that it actually happened, but it was more that monkey see, monkey do kind of thing. So if an actor and a multi-million-dollar celebrity can go slap another celebrity, what is going to keep a normal person sitting in the audience at a comedy show that gets offended from walking up on stage and slugging that comedian, slapping that comedian, or heaven forbid, stabbing or shooting that comedian? Why is it that if you're all of a sudden offended at something where people paid to be at, to laugh at, that it's now okay to go assault them? Like, that's kind of the message that I was afraid of coming out of the Academy Awards. Now, I haven't heard of a lot of it, but I have heard of people being, belligered because people didn't like the comedy. And it's just, what's going to happen if we don't have humor and we don't have comedy and we don't have stand-up? This is going to be a really, really depressing world, more than it is currently.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like comedy is sometimes offensive, or parts of jokes are offending somebody. Like, that's how it works. I don't know.
That's all comedy, though, Mike. All comedy is going to offend someone in some way, shape, or form, because comedy is an art form, and the purpose of comedy is retrospective and introspective. You're supposed to be looking at yourself and laughing and thinking about how you can make yourself better or worse or whatever. That's the purpose of comedy. That and to laugh and just blow off steam. If you're offended by it, then don't go to it. Period. That's my opinion.
All right. I agree, Matt. Okay. So, Matt, do you have anything more to talk about this movie? I don't know. It's just a bunch of fun, man.
It's a lot of fun. How about this? One thing I liked is it's also a monster movie. It has a lot of random ass monsters, a lot of weird ass effects. One of the ones that I've always loved that it was funny is when one of the gods, I think it's the thunder god, he sees the dead David Lopan lying on the ground and he starts inflating and explodes like a zit.
Yes,
that's just hilarious, and it was 100% practical. You can tell.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was just great.
It's just a goofy scene that's just fun and ridiculous, and I never in a million years would have thought that's what would have happened. Or the monster that floats around that's basically a ball of eyeballs, including his mouth. That's pretty freaking weird too.
That is weird.
So that's where that sci-fi monster element comes in. I mean, this movie, it's so many different genres blended in. And I think, a lot of that is just John Carpenter being John Carpenter,
I don't know. It was fun. Maggie said this when we were watching this again, Matt, that, when we were growing up, this was just on cable a lot. It was just on, and I would watch it every time.
Yeah, it's a quality flick. It's fun. It's odd. It's goofy. It's fun. It's not to be taken serious. I don't know. It's not going to win any awards. It's not going to, set the world on fire. But if you just want to just chill out and relax and laugh, this is a good movie.
Yeah, it's a great popcorn flick.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't think it more of a popcorn flick because I think that more is like a blockbuster kind of movie. But
okay, all right.
This is just like a solid B comedy.
Okay, all right, Matt. I will give you one more piece of trivia, Matt. Zach Braff went as Jack Burton to Kate Hudson's 2014 Halloween party and ran into Kurt Russell.
That must have been awkward.
They posed for a photo.
Oh, dude, yes.
I find that's kind of funny.
Oh, that's awesome. That's cool. All right, Mike, so let's do it. I'll have you go first. How many reels do you give Big Trouble in Little China?
All right, man. I'm going to give this one 4.5 just because it's just a great time.
Well, Mike, I'm not as generous as you. I enjoyed it. I think it's fun. I think it's a great movie. I'm the one that owns it. I mean, I bought this shit. I have it's either a Blu-ray or a DVD. I think I got it for $10. I physically purchased it. So I do love this movie, but not as much as you. I give it a 3.5.
Hey, that's fine, man. So I guess with that, Matt, what do you think we should do for next week? I gave you a few options. What do you think?
Well, Mike, you gave me all options with a short man that is tearing up the charts again in the theaters, even though he's much older than he was when those other films were made. But Mike, I picked Big Trouble in Little China. So for those of you who are not me or Mike, we're discussing doing another legacy cast because there's just not a whole lot of films coming out. And the ones that have come out on streaming, not getting the greatest reviews. And we want to get some more of our sci-fi love in. So Mike is deciding between 3 sci-fi movies starring Tom Cruise. And he loves all 3 of them so much he can't pick one.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. All
right, Mike.
Matt,
flip a coin.
I think we're gonna do Edge of Tomorrow. Tom Cruise, Emily Blunt. Really like that movie. I think they changed the name to Live, Die, Repeat to confuse everyone, but man, that's a great movie.
So I know there is a story behind it. I don't remember exactly. I will have to look it up, or you might have to look it up because I know you like your trivia. But originally when it was released, it was in the theaters. It was called Edge of Tomorrow. And then I think it got confused with something, or there was something possibly with copyright or something. So they renamed it Live, Die, Repeat. And now they call it Live, Die, Repeat, Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah, that's great.
I just know it as Edge of Tomorrow. And I freaking love that movie. I really do. It's very, very good. I can tell you my rating right now, but I'm not going to, Mike. I will save it for the Real Film Nerds. Next podcast, episode 288, because this is 287. Yeah.
Well, all right, Matt. There we go. So pick the next movie for next week. And I think that's about it, man. I guess I'll let our listeners go. So thanks for listening, everybody. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And go out there, stream a movie. Go catch a movie at the theater. And catch us on our next pod. Thanks again, everybody.
Thank you for listening to The Real Film Nerds. Now don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Real Film Nerds. Now go out and catch a movie.